So the next type of problems which we are going to discuss today, let me write here, that is the problems, okay, on determining, okay, maximum exchange ratio for acquiring company and minimum exchange ratio for target company. This is the next types of problem, okay, under the same module. So let us discuss what is this particular problem. There are some few formulas are there. We'll discuss those formulas and then we'll start with the one question. Problems on determining maximum exchange ratio for acquiring company and minimum exchange ratio for target company. That is the type of problems, or we can say cases related problems. Okay. So now there are two things you have to understand. One is maximum exchange ratio. Okay. Let me highlight this one. And one is something called as minimum exchange ratio. This is the another part. Maximum we are giving the exchange ratio when we are calculating it is for acquiring company, and minimum exchange ratio we are giving for in case of target company. So now first we'll discuss the formula for that is case 1. Okay, the maximum, okay, the maximum exchange ratio which is acceptable to the shareholders of acquiring company. So maximum exchange ratio which is acceptable to the shareholder of acquiring company. So that is the first case. So in that case, how the formula will come if we are giving the maximum exchange ratio to the acquiring company? That is what I have highlighted here. So the formula is ER, okay, and this is below ER, okay, A. This is below ER A is equal to minus NA, okay, minus NA divided by NT, okay, then separately plus bracket open EAT, okay, this is EAT, nothing E below that AT into PE, okay, of AT to the whole divided by this EAT into PAT divided by PA NT. Okay, this is the formula for this. So now this is for in case of maximum exchange ratio which is given to the acquiring companies, okay, maximum exchange ratio which is acceptable to the shareholder of acquiring company, that is case 1. Now let us discuss what is case 2. Case 2 is the minimum exchange ratio, or we can say acceptable by the shareholder of target firm, or we can say target company. So in that case, how the formula will come? Again, we are writing here ER, that is T. Okay, I'll tell you what is the expansion of all these things, is equal to PT NA. Okay, again PT is in below, so I'm just putting in brackets because that is for understanding. Okay, NA divided by E80 into PE80 minus PT and NT. So let us start with what is this all determines and what is the meaning of this all particular formula one by one with the help of the expansion, the abbreviation of this all. First one I have written ERA. What is ERA? That is called the exchange ratio for acquiring company, or we can say acquiring firm. The first one, this one. Next one, they given something called ERT. So now when I write ERA is nothing but the exchange ratio for which one? Acquiring company. So next is ERT. What is this? Exchange ratio for target firm. Right. Next one is NA. I have written NA. Okay. So what is the meaning of this NA? Number of shares in acquiring. A means acquiring. Okay. Firm. Next, if it is NA means number of shares in acquiring firm. If I write NT means what? Can anybody tell me what will be now NT then? Just try. Anybody can unmute and tell me what can be NT then?
Target firm. Number of
Number
shares
of
in
shares in
target
target
firm.
company.
Yes, number of shares in target firm. Okay, right, perfect. Number of shares in target company, or we can say firm. Let us go down. Now PA, I have written somewhere PA. Okay, you can see here there is a PA is given. What is the PA? Is equal to price per share. Okay, if it is A means price per shares of acquiring firm. Next, somewhere I have written PT, right? So what will be this one? Then PT. Anyone? If PA is price per shares of acquiring firm, what will be PT then? Okay, I got the answer. Price per share of target firm. Next, I have written somewhere EAT. Okay, EAT. What is EAT? Okay, it is nothing but the combined, okay, the combined earning of merged entity. When I say merged entity means both the companies merged. So EAT is nothing but the total combined earning of merged entity. Okay. Next one. So I have written here something called PE80. Okay. So now let us write down this one PE80. What is this PE? It is nothing but P ratio. Okay. PE means what? The P ratio of merged entity. PEAT is nothing but P ratio of what? Merged entity. So these are the total abbreviations we can say of these particular formulas of both the cases when there is a minimum and maximum exchange ratio is given. For maximum is for acquiring company and minimum is for target company. Okay. Is the formula is clear? Can you give me a confirmation in the chat box so that we can proceed further? Okay. Just put in the chat box. Okay. Okay. Right. So let us start with one question based on this particular formula, how it has to be solved. Can you see the question? Everyone, is it visible? Just give me a
Yes.
confirmation. Right. So now question number 7, we'll discuss on what we just now we discussed few formulas on that, and based on that we'll solve this problem. Vijay Limited, all of it carefully answer because these are all case study problems which I am solving. Carefully listen how it has to be solved and just tell me the calculations when we solve in the chat box. Vijay Limited and Ajay Limited, there are two firms are available, are discussing a merger deal in which Vijay will acquire Ajay. Okay. Vijay will acquire Ajay. That is what the given information. So any questions? Once we start, we need to understand the first thing is which is the target firm and which is the acquiring firm over here. So can you give me a chat box confirmation? Which is the firm is buying or acquiring firm or which is targeting firm? Can you post your answer so that we can proceed further? Right. Perfect. Right. So Ajay company is now we have got the confirmation that Ajay is a targeting firm over here and Vijay company is acquiring firm over. Right. Let us see further what the informations they given here. The relevant information about the firm is follows. So Vijay and Ajay, there are two companies. Total earning they given 3 crore 60 lakhs, 1 crore 20 lakhs. Number of outstanding shares also given 1 crore 20 lakhs of Vijay and 80 lakhs of Ajay. Earning per share is given 3 rupees and Ajay's earning per share is 1.5 rupees. PE ratio of Vijay is 10, PE ratio of Ajay is 6. Market price per share of Vijay is 30 rupees and market price per share of Ajay is how much? 9 rupees. Now, what is the question below that they given adjustment? What is the maximum exchange ratio acceptable to the shareholders of Vijay Limited if the P ratio of combined firm is 8? Very important. The first, what they given? What is the maximum exchange ratio acceptable to the shareholder of Vijay Limited? Okay. If the P ratio of combined firm is given here. So now, can you tell me this, what is the maximum exchange ratio is case 1 or case 2? We have to apply which formula here? Can you put your answer in the chat box? Which case it is? Is it a case 1 or case 2? Okay. Right. So I got few answers in the chat box. It is a case 1 related problem. Correct. Let us go down. Next one is, what is the minimum? Okay. What is the minimum exchange ratio acceptable to the shareholder of Ajay Limited if the P ratio of combined firm is 9? Okay, so let me highlight this one. So what is the minimum exchange ratio acceptable to the shareholder of Ajay? Remember, Ajay is my target firm, right? So here what will come? Which case will come here? Case 1 or case 2? We apply here. Correct. Absolutely correct. So I got the few answer in the chat box. So here we have to apply the case 2 problem over here, which is minimum exchange ratio acceptable. Now the third one, you see what they're telling you to do. At what point do the line of earnings of first company and earnings of second company, one is target company, one is buying. So E1 is nothing but earning of acquiring firm, and ER2 is nothing but the earnings of Ajay Limited over here. Okay. So just one second. So the third case, what they given, at what point do the line ER1 and ER2 intersect? That is what they're telling here. Okay. That we can calculate only when we get to know what is the maximum exchange ratio and minimum exchange ratio. Based on that, we have to calculate what point they lines together at ER1 and ER2. Okay. So this was 2018 question paper. They asked this particular problem. Okay. So now what we'll do, we'll start solving this. So what your information is given. So for simplicity, what we'll do, we'll cancel this all these zeros. So we'll, to make it very simple, because calculation will become further very this one. So just make it very simple. So here all zeros I will cancel of Vijay's and Ajay's also. So the total earning of Vijay will be 36 and the total earning of Ajay will be 12. As of now, we'll keep it into the simple, into the calculation part for. And here also number of outstanding, I can take 12 and here I can take 8. Okay. So I'll just cancel all this 0 and make it this. So that is the only the first concern for me over here. Okay. So now let us start with the solving the problem. So first we have to solve. Okay, so give heading question number 7 we are going to solve. And remember, first we are going to solve as per case 1. And what is the case 1 problem is? It is a maximum. I will just write here maximum exchange ratio. Okay, which is acceptable by the shareholder. You have to write here of acquiring firm. Okay, what is acquiring firm? The buying firms, whatever is there calculating, we have to calculate what is the exchange ratio. So let us write down the formula and then we'll keep it here. Okay, the ERA, okay, just is equal to minus NT, okay, divided by NA plus, okay. So it is nothing but it is minus NT, below that only NA is there, okay. Below that only NA is there. That is what it is understanding. Then plus separately bracket open EAT, okay, plus PE, the P of these companies, okay, PEAT, right? And now this you have to under, means below that, okay, divided by this one, divided by PA, then NT. Okay, that is what you have to understand here, right? So now let us write down.
Sir,
Yes.
so the earnings you have to multiply with the P ratio, sir, as
Yes.
per the formula. And also there you had given minus NA by NT, sir, and here you have taken minus NT by NA. So which one to consider?
It is minus NA by NT. Yes. Okay. Minus NA by NT it is. The same one, what I've written there. I think while writing I missed it. It is NANT. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now let us put all this information. What are the information they given over here? Okay. So first one is NA we have to write on. Okay. Minus NA is how much? So what is the meaning of NA? Here, what is the meaning of NA? Number of shares in acquiring firm, right? So just put in a chat box and tell me what is the number of shares in acquiring firm, so that I can just to cancel the zero, and based on that you can tell me how many number of shares are there in acquiring firm. Can you give me answer in the chat box? Yeah, so we'll make it okay, 12. As of now, just make it for simple calculation. Okay, it is somewhere how much? 12. Huh? Okay. NT is how much? Number of shares of targeting firm is how much? Can you put your answer in the chat box? Eight. Can you say number of shares is how much shares? Is it visible? Can you put your answer after seeing this? Can you put your answer in the chat box and tell me what is the number of shares of target firm? Okay. So it is 80 lakhs. That is what? Next, E80. The total earnings of both the firms. Can you put your answer in the chat box? What will be the total earnings of both the firms? The combined. How much it will be? Okay. Can you put your answer in the chat box? What is the total earnings of both the companies over here? Okay. $48. Okay. Next, PE80. Price to earning ratio. Okay. Right. Price to earning ratio PE80 of merged entity, right? So price to earning ratio of what? Merged entity we have to calculate. Now you see, what is the price to earning ratio if the both the firms get merged? Okay, when there is a maximum ratio, what will be the PE80? How much we have to take here? Can you put your answer in the chat box? The combined PE80 is how much then? It will be how much? The first case, right? As per the first case formula, it is combined, they given how much? 8 over here, right? Perfect. So now based on this, we have to calculate. So PEAT is given 8. If it is 8, what will be the exchange ratio based on that? Then PA. What is that PA? Price per shares of acquiring firm. So now what is the price per shares of acquiring firm? Can you put your answer in the chat box? Who is acquiring to whom? And based on that, can you tell me what is the price per share of acquiring firm? We need PA. Price per share of acquiring firm is how much? Okay. Okay. Can you put your answer in the chat box? What is the price per share of Vijay? Acquiring firm is our Vijay. So can you see here there is a market price per share is given, which is nothing but how much rupees? 30 rupees. So we got price per shares of acquiring firm also. So now just add into the formulas, and based on that we'll solve this one. I'll just copy this. So here now NA, which is nothing but minus 12 divided by NT is my 8 plus EAT, okay, earnings of acquiring, AT, combined earning of the firm, we have to calculate here, which is okay 48 into, based on this we have to calculate. It is into, right? So what is the earning per shares? Combined earning per share is how much of this firm? It is 8 divided by price PA. What is PA? We have already calculated here. It is 30 into NT means what? Number of shares of target firm, 8. So what we'll do now? Okay. First you just divide this one. Minus 12 divided by 8 is how much here? How much you're getting? Just put your answer in the chat box. Minus 12 divided by 8 is how much? Right. Others? Minus 1.5. Okay, right. Then plus 48 into 8 is how much? What is the, now you tell me this part. Okay, then I will divide with 30 by 8. 48 into 8 is how much? Just tell me this one. 384. Okay, divided by 30 into 8 is how much? It is 240 here they given, right? So let us put the values now here. Minus 1.5 plus 384 divided by 240 is how much? What is the value? 384 divided by 240, what is the value? You're getting plus 1.6. So now finally we can calculate, right? ER, earning ratio of EA minus 1.5 plus 1.6 is how much then? The exchange ratio of acquiring firm will be final answer how much? It will be 0.1, right? So we got the answer of, if the combined entities PE ratio is 8, this will be the exchange ratio. We can write it as here, or 0.1 is to 1. That is the first case. Tell me in the chat box, is the first case is clear? So that we can proceed with the next case 2. Is the first case is clear? Can you confirmation? Can you give me in the chat box? Okay. Now, let us go to the next one. What is the next one? Case 2. And what is case 2? When there is a minimum exchange ratio, right, to acceptable by target firm company. Okay, that is the second case I am going to solve here. Right. So now let us go to the second case formula. Based on that, we'll write on. So I'll just write on here. There is a case 2 I have written. I'll just copy this formula. So now what are the information they given here? We have to first write down what are the given information here. So first one is NA. Okay. What is NA? Can you see here? Where here also we have written somewhere something called as NA, right? What is the number of shares of acquiring firm? It is 12. Next. NT I need number of shares of target firm. You can see here, we can get the information from here. Number of shares of target firm is 8. Now next one, I need this information, which is EAT. Okay. Let us write on EAT. So now what is the EAT? What is EAT is nothing but we can already, I think we have written here, which is nothing but 48. Next, PE 80. Now can you tell me in the second case, what is the PE ratio? What they're telling here in the question? Can you put your answer in the chat box? In case of case 2, what is the minimum acceptable ratios they're expecting? Okay. Can you see here? What is the minimum exchange ratio which is given in case of case 2? Can you put your answer in the chat box? Combined firm PE ratio is how much now? Hello. Can you put your answer in the chat box? What is the next case to PE ratio? It is okay. 9. So what is next one is PT, price of target firm. Can you tell me what is the price of target firm? Price means the market price per share. What is the price per share of the target firm? Can you post the answer in the chat box? So the market price per shares of target firm is nothing but how much? Ajay company's market price is also 9 here, right? So price per share is also given of target firm. It is 9. So now what we have to do is that just we have to put all the information in the formula. I'll just once again copy down here. So let us calculate now. What is the price per share of target firm is 9 into number of shares of acquiring firm is 12, right? Divided by Next, now here EAT, what is EAT is nothing but how much they given 48. Okay, so we can say 48 into what is the price per earning ratio of merged entity. PE ratio is also how much? 9 over here. Just close the bracket. Minus. Now here, price of T, target firm is how much? 9 into. And what is the target number of shares of target firm? NT is also, here is how much? 8. So now, let us calculate the earning ratio for the case 2. How much it will be? So just tell me one by one. Okay, first will be how much? 108 divided by 48 into 9, then minus, okay, 48 into 9 minus 9 into 8. So 48 into 9 is how much here? What is the value? 432. Okay, minus 8 into 9 is how much? 72. So now just divide here. 108 divided by 432 minus 72 is how much? What is the value you are getting here? 360. So 108 divided by 360 is what is the value? All of you calculate and tell me what is the value you are getting exchange ratio in case of ERT. Can you put your answer in the chat box? .3. So this will be my ERT. So let me bold here. This was the first, second, and this. Tell me, is the question and solution is clear till now? Is it clear? Both the case, is it clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you show case 1 once?
Done?
Yes, sir.
So now let us go to the next part. Okay. In the question, the third part is telling, this is very little bit you have to try to understand. Okay. You have to calculate at what point both the lines ER1, that is earning ratio of acquiring firm, and earning ratio of target firm will intersect. That is what they want us to calculate here. And based on this, you have to write down the line. Okay. At what point they meet, that is what they want to know us. Okay. So let us go down. So first what I will do is that, okay, I'll just, the first case ERA1, right? This was the particular formula which we were written. I'll just copy this one. Now this is little bit kind of a twist over here. Just try to understand how this will come. Okay, this is the first case. What I will do, I'll just draw one table here. Okay. So this is PE 80, price to earning ratio. Okay. And this is the maximum ER1. ER1 is the first exchange ratio. We can say acquiring firm. Okay. Just try to understand here. What is the P ratio in case of first case? In case of first case, what was the combined P ratio is how much? Can you see here? It is how much? 8. So in the first case, the combined P ratio was 8. Then what was the exchange ratio we got? Okay. So what you have to do here, you have to do some assumptions based on this. Okay. Let us put this is the P ratio. Okay. Which I got 8. When the P ratio is 8. Okay. When the P ratio of combined form entity is 8. What is the exchange ratio we got here? What is the value we got here? Can you tell me? ER1. ER1 means the first earning exchange ratio of acquiring firm is how much we got? When P ratio is 8, what is the earning ratio of first company, first case? How much is the answer? Can you see here? It is highlighted with yellow. Can you put your answer in the chat box? How much it is? 0.1, right? If the P ratio of combined entity is 8, then the earning per ratio, or we can say the exchange ratio is 0.1. Correct? Now, what we have to do is that, what if the P ratio is 7? Okay, just go back few. What if the P ratio is 6? And what if the P ratio is 5? Then what will be my ER1? Suppose, let us assume if the company has a P ratio now instead of what you have to do is that you have to here assume, okay, the price earning ratio is now 7. Okay, it is how much now? The price earning ratio will be how much now? It will be 7. Okay, so now what will be my ER1? Okay, just you have to replace the values over here. Okay, one by one based on this information according to the formulas. So can you tell me what is PEAT is how much? The price to earning ratio, if it is given 7, then what will be my ER1? Just you have to replace into the formulas and you have to calculate. So if it is 7, what will be the price ER1? Just I have put here. Can you tell me what will be the ER1 then? Just replace that 7. Okay. It will come how much? If it is 7, if PE80 is 7, then what is ER1? That is what I want to know. This actually. How much you are getting? Minus 0.1. Okay, perfect. So you are getting minus 0.1. Okay, now others. Now tell me if the P ratio is 6. Okay, if the P ratio is 6, now I'm putting 6 there instead of 7. I'm putting there 6. Then what will be the value? Instead of 7, I'm putting 6. Then what you will get answer here? What will be the ER1? Minus 0.3. Okay, perfect. Now what if the price to earning ratio is 5? I'm just putting here 5. Okay. Then what will be my ER1? How much it will come? minus 0.5. Okay. Now go forward 3 steps. Okay. You have gone backward 3 steps. Now go forward 3 steps. 9, 10. If the P ratio is 9, okay. And if the P ratio is 10, and if the P ratio is 11. So now what you have to do is that I'm putting here instead of 5, I'm putting here 9. Then what will be my P ratio? Sorry, ER1 ratio. It will be how much? If it is 9. Okay. All of you calculate and tell me what will be the ER1. It will be 0.3. Okay. Right. What if the P ratio is 10, then what will be my ER1? Exchange ratio 1. How much it will be? 10. If it is 10, then .5. Now for 11, how much it will be? Okay. So for 11, it will be how much? 0.7. Right. So now this was the in case of acquiring firm. Now we'll do in case of the another case. Okay. Case 2. Okay. I'll just copy this table here. Just same assumptions here also you have to take. So now here, okay, same. What was the second case? P ratio was how much? In the second case, combined P ratio was how much? Case 2. What was the P ratio? It is 9, right? When the P ratio of the firm, if it is 9, if we want to give the shareholder of Ajay Limited, right? 9. So here it is 9, right? So when P ratio was 8, okay, we got this answer. Okay. So when P ratio is 9, what was the exchange ratio we got? It was how much? How much we got when P ratio is combined together of firm is 9. What is the exchange ratio of this company? It is how much? ERT. The second firm exchange ratio is how much you got? Can you see here? It is 0.3. Correct? So now let us put the calculation over here. So one step ahead, one step behind for this calculation over there. So now just put your calculation. If P ratio is 8, okay, PE80, PE80, if it is 8, okay, of the second firm, right? I'll tell. When it is 8, okay, what is the, if I put PE, okay, PE80, if I'm putting 8, what is the exchange ratio you'll be getting here? In case of 8, okay. So it will be how much? 0.35, okay. 0.35. Okay. In case if the P ratio is how much? 7. If I'm putting here 7, what answer you will be getting? If it is 7, PE80, if it is 7, then what you will get here? 0.4. Okay. What if the P ratio is 6 then? how much you will get? If it is 0. Okay, 0.5 you're getting. What if there is a P ratio change with 5, then how much you will get? 0.64. Okay. Now just tell me, just put in the value of this one. If the P ratio is 10, price to earning ratio of combined entity, if it is 10, then what is the value you are getting here? 0.26. Okay. If you replace with 10 with 11, then how much you will get? 10 I am replacing with 11, then it will get 0.24. Done? Is it clear? So now what is the question they are asking you? At what point do the lines ER1 and ER2, the exchange ratio of 1 and 2 intersect each other? Can you tell me by seeing this, where is they are intersecting? In which P ratio they are intersecting? Just see there. Where is the common P, ER1 and exchange ratio? Both the table I have given in front of you. Can you tell me where it is intersecting? Yes. When P ratio is 9, that time it is intersecting to each other. Can draw. Right? Can you see here? Done? Is it clear? So this was the final conclusion of this answer. Hello. So now tell me in the chat box, can you put your answer? Is it clear? This particular question solution? Okay. Okay. Right. Perfect. Next, let us solve question number 22, case study problem 1. Very important problem. 2020's question paper. Last year they asked this problem. Let us see how the calculation goes on. Reliance Limited, or we can say Reliable Industries Limited is considering to take over Sunflower Industries. Okay. So Reliable Industries, RIL, which they want to take over Sunflower Industries, SIL. The following informations of two companies they given here. One is RIL and one is SIL. Both the informations they given here. Now, what are the informations they given here in the question? Something called as earning after tax. Okay. So 20 lakhs they given and 10 lakh rupees of earning after tax is given. Number of shares outstanding they given 10 lakh and 10 lakh. Both the companies outstanding shares are same. EPS they given 2 rupees per share of Reliable Industries Limited, and the Sunflower Industries EPS is 1. Okay. P ratio is given 10 rupees. Okay, 10 times. It is 10 times, and here it is also 5 times over here. Next one. Now, with the question, can you tell me just in a short way, which is target firm and which is acquiring firm? By seeing the question, can you tell me? The first confirmation you need to understand which is the target firm and which is the acquiring firm here. You can see here. So can you put your answer in the chat box to get the confirmation? Hello. Okay. Target firm is sunflower, right? So Sunflower Company Limited, which is the target firm over here, they given, and RIL, which is nothing but the takeover firm. Okay. The two companies information was given, and next what they given, say the market value. Okay, right. The market value of each value. What is the market value of each company before merger? So you have to calculate what is the market value of each companies before the merger. Next one, you see what they given. Okay, assume that the management of RIL, Reliable Industries Limited, estimate that the shareholder of SIL will accept an offer. Okay, let me highlight this. Accept an offer for 1 share of RIL for 4 share of SIL. What is the estimation here? Now RIL is taking over Sunflower Company, right? SIL. So what is the shares they are offering to them? In what they estimating that they will accept the offer of 1 share of RIL for 4 share of SIL. So can you tell me what will be the exchange ratio here in the chat box? What is the exchange ratio they are giving? How much is to how much? In simple terms, what will be the exchange ratio? Can you put your answer in the chat box? Offer 1 share of RIL for 4 share of SIL. So what is the exchange ratio? What will be the ratio here? Okay. So I got one answer. Others? Okay. Next, what they given, see, if there are no synergic effect, okay, what is the market value of post-merger RIL? Okay, if there is no synergy effect, what will be the market value of Reliable Industry, and what is the new price per share? Are the shareholder of RIL are better or worse before or then they were before the merger? So you have to calculate the market value of RIL. If it is synergy effect is there, if there is no synergic effect means if there is no merge over here, then what will the value of the company? Okay, this is very important, this term, if there is no synergic effect. Next case, what they given in the C, due to the synergic effect, assume that the management of RIL estimate that the earning will increase. So now you tell me, if one case they're telling if there is no synergic effect, and in another case they are telling if there is a synergic effect. So if there is a synergic effect, then the earning will increase with 20%. That is what their estimation is. Then what is the new post merger EPS and price per share? will the shareholders will the shareholder be better or worse off than they were before the merger? That is what the estimation is here, right? Is the actually the company is creating value or not if there is a synergic effect? And also, is there any increase in the market price per share or not? As well as EPS or not if there is a synergic effect. So there are two cases here. So we can assume when there is no synergic effect, what will be the value? And the second will be when there is a synergic effect, what is the value? That is what we have to understand. That is what the whole, if you want to summarize this problem, so you have to calculate of RIL, okay, RIL, which is our buying company, whether there is any particular gain is there or not, whether the company will create is value or not. If there is no synergy, what is the value? If there is a synergy, what is the value? As well as then everything will get changed. EPS, MPS of the company's everything will get changed over here, right? That is what it's trying to tell you here. Okay, so this is again 2020's question paper. Last year question, they asked this particular problem. Let us start solving this particular problem. Question number 22. Okay. I'll just take the new page. So now let us see the step number 1. Okay. What will be the step number 1? Okay. First we'll go according to the question requirement. What is the question they're asking here? What is the market value, right, of each company before merger? And one more thing, which is you have to carefully observe in this table, EPS is given, P ratio is given. Can you tell me what we can find out with this two ratio? If there is earning per share is given, if the P ratio is given, what you can find out of both the companies? EPS of each companies is given. The P ratio is of each company is also given. Then can you tell me what we can find out with this? Okay. Can you put your answer in the chat box? What we can find out if there is a EPS is there, P ratio is there, what we can find out? Okay. Okay. Fine. So the few people they answer. Market price per share we can find out of both the companies or not. Right. So the first step will be calculation of market price as well as market value also. We can calculate with the help of this information. We have total shares also of the company, both RIL and SIL companies. And with this information, we can calculate what is the market price per share and what is the market value. So the step number 1 will be calculation of market price and market value of the companies, right? So now let us see. So 3 columns I'll draw here, particular, and there are 2 companies. So this will be my particulars. The first one is RIL and the second one is SIL, right? Let us see one by one the calculations. So what is the first thing they given in the question? Just see here. This is earning after tax. So we will also write down here the earning after tax, which is nothing but PAT. What is earning per value of earning after tax of RIL is 20 lakh rupees. So I will write here 20 lakhs. What is earning of SIL? It is how much rupees? 10 lakhs. Next, what they given information? Number of outstanding shares. Number of outstanding shares. So both the companies outstanding share is how much? 10 lakh. And here also they have 10 lakh. Now based on this, EPS is also given of these companies. What is the earning per share? It is rupees 2 and this is rupees 1. Right? Next one is the P ratio is also given in the question, which is nothing but it is 10 times and this is how much? 5 times. So now let us calculate the market value per share. So can you tell me in the chat box what will be the market value, or we can say market price per share? MPS. Market price per share of RIL will be how much then? Okay. So the market price per share of RIL will be 20. And the market price per share of SIL will be how much? 5. Right? So now, can we calculate the market value of the company? How do we calculate market value of the company now then? Both the company, what is the value? How do we calculate? What will be the formula? Just estimation. Can anybody tell me what will be the market value if I want to calculate of this company? How do we calculate market value? Okay. MPS into number of outstanding shares. Right? So now, can you tell me what is the market value of RIL then? It will be how much? The first RIL company market value will be how much? So market price per share into number of share. So 20 into 10 lakhs, right? That is what it's saying. So can I write here 200 lakhs of RIL? Is it that value which you are getting? Hello? Okay. What is the market value of SIL? How much you are getting? It is 50 lakhs. Right. So the first part is clear. So we got to know market value of each companies. Okay. Based on the information what they given here. Now let us see the very important information they given here, something called as exchange ratio. So the exchange ratio is somewhere we got to know it is 1:4, right? So 4 shares if you have of SIL, we'll give 1 share of RIL. Why we need exchange ratio information? To calculate the what is the number of shares. Okay. So now just observe carefully. I am drawing here one more table. Particular 3 columns again. So there were, remember, case 1 and case 2. What was the case 1? What did we highlight here? Can you see here? If there is no synergic effect, and we know what is synergic effect, right? And what is the case 2? If there is a synergic effect, what is the value of these companies? So first one is if there is no synergy effect. Okay. Next, if there is a synergic effect. Okay. So what is the value what they say? So it means the synergy effect is showing how much if there is a 20% synergy. It means there will be earning will increase of the company. Means that shows there is a 20% of synergy. Okay. If there is a no synergic effect, this is the first case. And the second one is if there is a synergic effect, then what is the values? This was, you need to identify the first thing from the question. Okay. Now let us start putting the information according to that. Okay. So now just observe carefully, everyone. The first thing, based on the exchange ratio, I can calculate what is the number of shares to be issued. Okay. One second. Number of shares to be issued by which firm? Acquiring, right? Acquiring firm to target firm. So now, what will be the number of shares to be issued by acquiring firm is which one? RIL is acquiring and SIL is a target firm. Okay. So now how to calculate number of shares if there is a particular company's exchange ratio is given. Okay. So how to calculate here? What is the total shares of acquiring firm? Total shares of acquiring firm is how much? There are 10 lakh shares are there, right? And what is the exchange ratio which they are offering for that? 1:4 means total how many shares they have to issue? So 10 lakh into 1 divided by 4, how many shares will come? What is the number of shares to be issued now here? Can you put your answer in the chat box? How many shares? 10 lakh into 1 divided by 4. Total how many shares they have to issue then? 2.5. It means there are 250,000 shares the company has to issue. Remember, once the synergy effect happens, okay, 2.5 lakhs, correct? The earnings of the company will increase. Okay. So here also we have the same. Okay. Assume that the shares to be issued is same, 250,000 only. When there is a synergy happen, the value of the company increases. So here also 250,000 shares. So now we got to know how many shares the company has to issue here in both the cases. Now can we take the total shares? We can calculate of which one? The merged entity. So now how to calculate total shares? Now we have to calculate the total shares of the companies, right? Remember? Now a company, which is nothing but RIL, they have total 10 lakh shares and now they are issuing 250,000 shares. Now what will be the total shares after merging of both the companies? When, if it is synergy or not synergy, shares will remain. What is the value of the share? Means total how many shares they have to after merging. Remember, when there's synergy happens, the value of the company increases. If there is a merge happen, what is the number of shares they're getting merged? What is the total number of shares they're getting? So we can calculate here. 10 lakh is the total shares of buying company, and how many shares they are giving them? 2,50,000. So it means the total shares will be 12,50,000 shares when there is a merged. So remember, here also it will be 12,50,000. We have to show the earnings of the companies. So in both the cases, we got to know there are 12,50,000 shares will be there in case of if the company get merged. Let us see further. Okay. Now, if we know the total number of shares, can we calculate the post merger? Okay. We have to see what is the company's post merger PAT also. PAT is nothing but the profit after tax. If the company get merged, right, then what is the value? Okay. What is the value of after merging? Can you see here? Now you see earning after tax of Reliable Industries Limited is 20 lakh. If they merge with SIL, right, or they are taking over that firm, what will be the earnings of RIL then? What will be the total earning? How much it will be? So wait, I am telling you that 20% I will tell you here. Okay. First you tell me what, if there is no synergy effect, what is the post merger PAT? If there is no synergy effect, what is the company's particularly earnings? Even though if it is merge also, we can take the calculation of total earnings of the company. So what is the RIL PAT of Reliable Industries? How much? 20 lakhs. And RIL of this company is how much? 10. Even though if suppose if they are merging or taking over, total earnings of the company will reflect how much here? It is 20 lakhs. And the total earnings of this company is 10 lakh. So what is the total post merger PAT normally? Total amount is how much? 20 plus 10 will be 30 lakhs. Now, what they're saying that because of this, if there is a synergy arises in the company, there will be 20% will be increase in the earnings. So now can you tell me what will be the earnings of the company if it is effect happens? Okay. Then how much will be the total PAT of this company? It will be how much? Okay, perfect. So it means you have total amount of 30 lakhs. Okay. If there is a arises of synergy, there is a gain. That is what they're telling. There is a 20% increase in the earnings. So what is the value? 30 lakhs plus 20%. The total earnings of the company will be how much now? It will be 36 lakh rupees. Okay. So now we got to know that because of the energy synergic effect, there is a gain of 20% and the value is automatically it is reflecting here 36 lakh rupees. So now let us calculate now post merger EPS also. We can calculate the post merger EPS. We have post merger PAT. If there is no synergistic effect, what is post merger effect or post merger EPS? And what is the total merge entity also? We have shares, total number of shares after merging also. So based on this information, can I calculate post merger EPS or not? So now what will be my first company? Okay, when there is no synergic effect, what is the EPS of this company? How do we calculate? What is the EPS? What if there is no synergic effect? Okay, then what will be my EPS? Post-merger EPS. So now how to calculate this one? Okay. Can you tell me what will be the post-merger EPS? Others? What will come? The formula, what will come here? Right. Vaibhav, how did you got 2.4? Can you just explain here, everyone?
Sir, post-merger PAT divided by total shares of merged entity.
Right. So what is the post-merger PAT? It is how much?
30 lakhs.
30 lakhs. And post-merger total number of shares is how much here?
12,50,000.
12 lakh 50. So what is the post-merger EPS? It is coming how much? 30 lakhs divided by 12 lakh 50,000 shares. How much it will be? 2.4. Now, if there is an increase in the PAT due to the synergic effect, then there should be increase in the EPS also because of the synergic effect, because there is a direct relationship between PAT and EPS here. So what do you think? What will be the now EPS of, if there is a synergic effect arises, how much it will be? Can you tell me in the chat box, everyone? What will be my EPS if there is a synergic effect arises? 2.88. So 36 lakh you must have calculated like this, divided by 12 lakh 50,000. So what is the EPS? Because of the synergic effect, there is a 2.88 rupees of EPS. Now you see there is some changes arising to the company, right? RIL's EPS is increasing because of the synergic effect over here. Okay. So we got few information, post-merger EPS, PAT, merged shares also we got here. Now let us further calculate. Okay. Now P ratio, based on P ratio, what we can calculate the value of the firm. Okay. Let us see. If RIL, which is our buying company's P ratio is remained to be same, if they are giving that at that P ratio, that number of shares. Okay. So let us say the post-merger P ratio also will remain same. Just assume the post-merger P ratio. Now here I am assuming that, I will explain that one. What is that assumption? Assume to be same as pre-merger P ratio of acquiring firm, which is RIL. Let's assume that the same P ratio is continuing if there is no synergic effect, or if there is a synergic effect, then what will be the value of the firm? So what is the P ratio of RIL? The acquiring firm P ratio is how much here? 10. So when you are assuming, assume to be at buying company's P ratio, remember. Okay. Don't assume to be at selling company's target firm. So assumptions will be based on what, because you are going to take over the company. So you should assume based on your P ratio. Remember, we done some calculation on this. Assume at that if I have my P ratio, if I'm issuing the shares, what will be the value? So here 10 and here also the P ratio to be same. So now in this case, what will be my post merger MPS then? So now market price per share I want to calculate of this firm. If there is no synergic effect, what is the market price per share? If there is a synergic effect, then there will be a change in market price of RIL? We have to see now. So how to calculate market price per share? We have already have P, okay, the P ratio we assume to be the same here into what is the post merger EPS. Okay, this EPS is nothing but this is post merger, remember. Then what will be the market price per share if there is no synergic effect? So how do we calculate this one? Can you put your answer in the chat box? How much will be the market price in case of first case? It will be what is the P ratio? 10. And what is the post merger EPS is how much? 2.4. So what is the market price per share? If there is no synergic effect, it will be 24 rupees. Now tell me, what will be the market price? Will there be a market price because change in market price because of synergic effect of RIL company? Let us see. So how much it will come? 10 into 2.88. So how much is the market price? It will be 28.80. So because of there is a synergic effect of 20%, which is increase in the earnings, and that has resulted into the increase in the market price per shares of the company, right? So we got to know what is the post merger EPS of this. Now based on this, can we calculate? Now we got MPS also, everything we got. We can easily calculate. Will there be any value will be changed or not? That we have to calculate. So we can say the post merger value of this company. Will there be a value will be changed or not? What do you think? If there is no synergic effect, does the company's values will change? If there is a synergic effect, what will be the value of this company? So how to calculate this one now? What will be the formula for value now over here? Just tell me what will be the value if there is in case of synergic and non-synergic effect. What will come here? How do we calculate value? Total value of the firm now. Hello? Can you put the formula here? So what will be the formula here? MPS, okay, correct, into number of shares. Right. So now let us put the value, right? What is the market price? It is 24 into what is the total shares after merged entities? How much? Total number of shares? It is 12,50,000. So what is the value if there is no synergic effect? It will be rupees 3 crores. If there is a synergic effect arises, then what is the value? So how do we calculate here? What is the market price per share? It is 28.8 into total shares. We have 12,50,000. So 28.8 into 12 lakh 50,000 share. What will be the market price or market value of this company will be how much then? It will be 3.6 crores. Imagine, because of synergic effect, RIL companies market value is also increasing, market price is also increasing, and earning per share is also increasing. See the impact of synergic effect over here. So the total market value of both the companies is automatically it is increasing over here. In small line, okay, till now is it clear? Give me a confirmation in the chat box. Okay. Hello, am I audible? Okay, right. In a small nutshell, how do we calculate gain to the shareholders for acquiring firm? Gain or loss, we can say, to the shareholders in case of first is the acquiring firm. So now let us see the calculation here. How much the market price has changed? Okay. If it is, are they doing worse or not? We have to check that one. RIL companies, shareholders. Okay. Now we have to check this one, this condition. Are they performing better or will there is any particular gain or loss before the merger? Okay, that condition we have to see. Is the shareholders of the companies are of RIL are better or worse off than they were before merger? Okay, so that condition we have to apply here, this particular, and we'll check how much is the, whether they are actually gaining or they are losing because of this particular synergic effect. Okay. So now can you see these companies, okay, before the company had market value per share was 20 rupees. Okay. And now we can see the post merger market value is 24 rupees, right? So it means there is an increase in the market price per share of the company, right? So what is the value of the shares? If you see, look at here, from 20, it has gained to 24. And now here, now you see, if there is a synergic effect happened, market value was 20 and suddenly it has gone to 28.8. There is an increase in the market price per share. So before merger, the company had 10 lakh shares with them, right? So what is the gain or loss? If you see the difference between the post merger EPS and before, in case of no synergic effect. So how to calculate this one? I'll just see here. This is small, this calculation. What is the total market price? We can see post merger, it is arrived at 24 and it has been increased from 20 to, it has increased to 24, right? So there is some changes happens in the market prices, right? Here also, okay. So now what is the difference between 24 and 20 is how much? What is the difference they're getting? There is an increase in the price of how much? Post merger market price is how much? 24 minus 20 is how much? So there is an increase of 4 rupees. Market price has increased 4 rupees. Post merger 24, before merger 20. So now if you multiply 10 lakh into 44 means total, how much is the value which they are gaining for the shareholders here in the market price? at market price, what is the shareholders they are getting the value total? So 10 lakh into 4 is how much now here? Can you calculate and tell me in the chat box? It will be 40 lakh rupees. In case of synergic effect, okay, what is the performance of this companies? 10 lakh into, now here you see, what is the increase in the market price? 28.80 means from 20 it has gone to 28.80. So 28.8 minus 20. What is the difference you are getting? How much is the increase in the value? 28.8
So
minus
that is
20.
20.88, right?
It is 28.8, no? This one. Hello.
Yes, sir. My bad.
So what is the difference you are getting here? 8 point minus, just minus and tell me what is the value? Is it 8.8? Right. So now 10 lakh into at that price, what is the synergic total gain? How much they are gaining because of this? The shareholders are gaining how much in their total investment value? It will be rupees. Is it 88 lakhs? Okay. So 88 lakh rupees is the gain to the shareholders. If there is some kind of a synergic effect is there. If doesn't get any synergic effect, they will get 40 lakh. Anyway, they have to get some. But due to this, the company shareholders are gaining at 88 lakh rupees. The value of the shareholders gaining at what? 80 lakh. So there is a good performance, or we can say they are getting some benefit in their total value of the investment. So one is 40 lakhs and one is 88 lakhs. So finally, we can say there is a good positive sign of synergic effect in case of gaining to the shareholders of acquiring firm.